Hello everyone, Christian here. Did you know getting to know your customer is one of the most important parts of growing a business? In this video, I want to do several things. Give you a better understanding of customer satisfaction surveys, actual questions that you need to be asking in the surveys, and what apps to use. So we'll actually jump in towards the end of the video, so stick around for that. What is a customer satisfaction survey? Really, these types of surveys are done by companies to better understand customer opinions regarding their offerings, right? Products or services. These surveys help businesses tremendously because you're leaving the guesswork out of the door and working with real hard data straight from your customers. So there are a few things you're going to get out of these surveys. One, you're going to have a better understanding of your customers' expectations about your products or services. Look, if you give them the opportunity, they will tell you what needs to be fixed. You're also going to end up improving customer retention. So a lot of times people stay quiet about mediocre experiences or products and not tell you what really happened. So it's not what they really wanted, but they don't want to go through the process of returning and going through all that, etc. So, well, you can actually keep these silent customers happy with customer satisfaction surveys. You will actually end up with happier customers if you just give them the opportunity to fill out these surveys, and they can be simple. They don't have to be anything super complex. And I'm actually going to show you best practices, questions, and what apps to use. Stick around. But before we move on, I just want to say bienvenidos. My name is Christian Piñon, one of the co-founders here at Bit Branding. We're an e-commerce growth agency that specializes in helping clothing stores grow and scale profitably online. We drop new videos every week, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't miss out. Now let's go over what questions you need to be asking for customer satisfaction surveys. So it's going to be very specific. So now that you have a better understanding of what these surveys are, you might be wondering, what are they going to be the most important questions, right? Which questions are actually going to give you the most bang for your buck? How likely are you to recommend our product to a friend or colleague? Raise of hands, how many times have you heard this question? Everyone raising their hands. This is probably the sort of quintessential question when it comes to customer satisfaction surveys. It's how likely are you to recommend this product or service to a friend or colleague. Sometimes they say family or friend, right? Out of companies that are doing or running customer satisfaction surveys, about 41% actually use this particular question. And this is actually called the NPS score, which stands for Net Promoter Score. So they want to really know how likely are you to become a promoter of this brand, right? And obviously, if you are in the higher percentile where you are like at a 10 or a 9, where you're extremely likely to recommend, then they put you in these categories based on your answer on whether you're a promoter of the brand or you're sort of a killer of the brand, right? You're most likely a risk for the company, right? You may put out bad reviews out there. You may talk to your friends that this company is whatever. So they want to make sure that they catch people like you, if you're at the 0 to 1 or 0 to 3 almost, and make sure that they fix whatever needs to get fixed in order to convert you into a sort of brand promoter. So this NPS score and this question you've probably seen it everywhere. They rate you from 0 to 10. It's a very simple question, but you get a lot of data in the back end and a lot of things that you can do too. Second one, how easy was it to purchase with us today? This usually goes from a 1 to 5, and this is called the customer effort score. Yeah, customer effort score, CES. And this one is really just tracking how the effort, right, of the customer, how easy it is to actually go through the process of purchasing in your store. This question right here will fix the process essentially, right? So if you think that there are problems within the process of finding a product, of adding it to cart, of adding the coupon, of going through checkout as easy as possible, then this is the question that you need to be asking, because this will show you very, very fast and easy on the effort that the customer went through to actually purchase your product. Next one is, how would you feel if you could no longer buy from us or XYZ, right? This question is called the product market fit question. So this actually will tell you whether or not how this customers feel, right? So it's more on their feelings on, if our company disappeared tomorrow, would our customers even care, right? Would our customers, do they actually need this product? Next one is, what are we doing that you like? very simple question, and this one is just very straight to the point. You know, what are some things that we're doing? Could be, it's a little bit more open-ended, and I think that's important to have both closed and open-ended questions to let the customer really tell you, you know, detailed things. Next one is, what could we be doing better? So if you're trying to, again, fix little things about your process, about your product, about anything, then what could we be doing to be better would be amazing. Now, there are some companies out there that actually have full-on forums on, and especially like software type companies, right, where you have full-on forums where people can actually communicate back and forth and tell you like, this is what we care about the most, so that you can actually in the future move the needle forward on what your customers actually want. Next question, what would you like to see us offer? Kind of same as the one before, and part of that type forum thing, right? Where like if you want to expand on this question, really open it up to your customers to have a place where they can talk to each other, they can upvote or downvote in order to get exactly what they want. Next one is, what is the main benefit you get from our product? So this one's very similar to a previous one that we asked, which is just what are we doing that you like? But I think this gets just maybe a little bit more granular into the product. So let's say that you have a t-shirt and your t-shirt has maybe very unique features, right? So maybe it's extra long, maybe it has a organic cotton, maybe it's tagless. So you kind of give them those options, right? And it's like, what is the main benefit that you actually, you know, are most excited about for a product? And that will sort of kind of guide you into, okay, people actually don't care about the tag. They actually do care more about the product that you're using, for example. So data like that is going to be very, very important. And asking a question like this will get you that data. Next up is, would you order again based on what you get from the product right now? So again, very simple question. This is kind of going more off of a combination of the process, right? So would you order again? It's also taking into consideration the actual product that they got and the part of the process on how they got to that product. Next one, why did you choose our product over another competitor? I think this is important because you also have to understand sort of the gamut of competitors out there. You're not the only company offering your particular product. You may be, but more than likely you're not. So understanding from your customer's point of view on why would they choose someone else over you is going to give you a definite edge. And then in the same vein, this last question, if you had to choose another competitor for a similar product, which would it be and why? Again, just kind of gaining better understanding of your marketplace and the competition out there. And it's not just coming from you, right? If you do like a SWOT analysis, you will come up with certain things, but your customers are actually giving you input with a question like this. So you can actually have a better, more informed decision on what to do different compared to the competition. Now, I do want to say that a good survey will have about 6 to 8 questions. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, I will be talking about this a little bit later on, but I do want to mention Hotjar. So when it comes to your website, numbers tell you what's happening, but Hotjar's visual insights tell you the why, right? So imagine being able to see recordings of how your customers are actually using your website, where they're actually clicking, how far they're scrolling, and visually see where and if they're getting stuck anywhere on your website. With Hotjar, you can easily uncover opportunities for optimization, spot problems with your customer experience, and actually prioritize changes that matter to your customers. And also easily convince your team because you actually have all the hard data within Hotjar. Hotjar is a critical tool to understand your users and identify any pain points. So make sure to check out the link in the description below where you get a discount for Hotjar. Now, before we go into my recommended apps, I do want to share a few best practices. One, use natural, simple language. So don't try to overcomplicate the questions. You could technically use just the exact same questions that I gave you previously. You want to ask both closed and open-ended questions. So give them the opportunity to actually type in some stuff and some things that might be in their brain. And be goal-oriented. So what is the thing that you think that you're trying to fix, right? And go from there. Obviously, you may not know. So that's the importance of having those 6 to 8 questions in order to really kind of gauge a wide gamut of user experience, of product, of competition that will kind of give you a more overall approach, right, to the survey. Okay, so let's jump into the actual apps. There are different methods actually to deliver a survey. You could do it via email, SMS. If you have a brick and mortar, you could do it in person technically. You could do it within the product packaging, right, when you're sending that. Or you could even do it on the website itself after they purchase and they're in that thank you page. So because we have all these methods, then there's gonna be a plethora of different apps out there that you could use. Now, the most simple way to do the survey will be through email, right? Email or SMS, really. And to do that, all you need is just an email software. So you can use something like Klaviyo, which we have right here, and all you would do is just create a campaign, pop some of those questions in there, and send it off to your customer base. Now, you could get fancier, right? And not just send it to everyone and anyone. You could create lists and segments in order to just maybe hit the people who have purchased in the last 30 days or something like that, right? So it's maybe a little bit more fresher in their minds when you're collecting these surveys. And you could even do something like automated within these email campaign software where it will just happen automatically and you don't have to necessarily worry about it. So like in Klaviyo, MailChimp, and even Shopify email, you can do all these things. We actually made a video recently about Shopify Flow and Shopify automations. We're about to create a new video on Shopify Flow, and we're gonna sort of break down some good automations that you can make. So this one right here will be one of them. So if you're curious about how to automatically send customer satisfaction emails through Shopify Flow, then let us know in the comments down below. So we're more excited, right, to get that video going for you. Next up is something like SurveyMonkey. Again, it still goes through email. With SurveyMonkey, it just kind of compiles the data a little bit easier for you. And we also have a freebie for you, which is a customer satisfaction survey template, which you can check out in the description below. And this will be sort of a automatically populated questions in here. Some of the questions that we did talk about here. The only thing about it is the questions are all multiple choice type questions. So again, I would recommend to kind of half these questions into some of the multiple choice, some of them just open-ended questions. But again, SurveyMonkey would be another tool that you could use to send these customer surveys. And like I said, template down below. All right, next up, some actual apps from the Shopify App Store that we probably recommend for these. And these apps, a lot of them do a combination of they'll live in the thank you page. So after a customer actually goes through the process of purchasing, they'll see a message right there within the thank you page. The only thing about this is some of them are very limited, right, in the type of questions that you can ask or how many questions you can technically ask. So the first app is Post-Purchase NPS Survey. This is by hulkapps.com. Again, it has some pretty good reviews. It's pretty seamless to kind of get it together, working together, and then it's pretty easy to just kind of put your questions in there, and then like it shows in here, at the thank you page, you'll get the opportunity to ask a couple of questions in there. Now, the pricing for this one is $9.90 a month, and like that's it. You get that 7-day free trial, but you're going to be paying for it. So if you're just starting out with customer satisfaction surveys, and I would necessarily not recommend this one right off the bat because you have to kind of pay for it. There are some free options. Next one's going to be Fuzzy Surveys. Now this one is completely free, so you don't have to pay for anything right now. I'm guessing eventually in the future they'll add some other tiers, right? But again, this integrates into your checkout confirmation page or your thank you page. You can also give them the single multiple choice or even text answers. And again, just pretty seamless. This one, what was interesting was, yeah, it's right here. It integrates with Microsoft Excel. I don't know why. Out of all the apps that you can integrate with, it integrates with Microsoft Excel. So all the information that you get from these surveys sort of get automatically added into a spreadsheet for Microsoft Excel, which is, it's kind of nice. And again, for free, you can't beat this. So if you're just starting out with these sort of surveys and want to get something out there, I would use Fuzzy Surveys. Now, I did talk about Hotjar earlier in this video. If you do want to check it out, make sure to check out the link in the description. Hotjar does surveys, but they do way more than just surveys. So I would highly suggest something like Hotjar too if you're interested in those extra things that Hotjar includes, because you'll get the satisfaction surveys, but you'll also get the heat maps, you'll also get the recordings from your customers. So I think you'll get a fuller picture with something like Hotjar. versus some of these other apps that we're talking about. Now, the last one is going to be called User Loop Post-Purchase Surveys. This one has a free plan available. I loved how they did this, which is they're kind of copying the Apple aesthetic whenever they launch new products. So they kind of give you a breakdown of some of their features right within here. But again, it's one of those where, yeah, you get a free one, so you could start with this one. It's a little bit pricier than the other ones if you're looking into scaling this. So you get up to 50 responses per month, up to 2 different surveys, up to 3 questions per survey. And you also have the opportunity, which we have this one installed in our store. And if you look in here, we have the opportunity to send email surveys through their app as well, and have the post-purchase checkout survey in here as well. We have both active. We just have a simple single select question. How did you hear about us? Obviously, you can design them however you like. It will look something like this, so very simple and clean, just as your thank you page will look like. And again, it's just super easy to install, enable, set up your question. You can change a couple of the colors, and at least you're doing something, which would be better than nothing. All right, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.